Any questions from the audience? Oh yeah, that was true.
Now, isn't that totally absurd that that was NC-17? When I asked, they said, it just feels too real. To which I, of course, responded, are you kidding me? It's violent and it's supposed to feel real. You know, I wasn't going to make it funny or sexy. What they made me cut out was the throat slit, Mary getting her throat slit. So now it's just a tiny slice with hardly any blood. And that swallowed up my entire director's cut budget. That was 3 days in a flame room at $500 an hour. All for that. And yeah, no, the MPAA said, we think you've made a great film and we don't think children should ever see it. But that was the NC-17. Yay! I like peculiar, and you know, and I wanted you to ask questions like, where is he from, and what is that? It is a speech impediment, but it's also that sort of anywhere in America, any kind of guy, you can't really place him suggestion. And I had spoken to Vincent about Bob is such a broken, wounded human being. And his body is so heavy on his bones, and so his gait is really slow. And I think that he's not a stupid guy at all, but he's been hit in the head a bunch. And he's decided that this is the best way to sort of protect himself. And so on his own dime, Vincent had his dentist make him a piece for the roof of his mouth. And so that allowed him to lisp a bit. If he was too lazy with his words. And then we just sort of had him, you know, maybe somewhere in his fantasy he was from New York every once in a while.
Him being called Bob, is that a quote?
I'm sorry?
Him being called Bob, is that a quote?
Him being called Bob. Yeah. Is that a quote? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
I was thinking Twin Peaks.
Oh! Yeah, I don't know what it is with me and my dad and the name Bob. You know, it was you know, it's so, again, generic. It's an any guy name. And, I don't know, you know, Bob. You know, your old buddy Bob, living on the farm. Bob is harmless. Bob drives a cab. You know, it's just sort of there's no homage to it. It just seemed very, you know, he could have been John. But Bob kind of, Bob's fun to say. It has never been easy, and it has not gotten easier. I do think, though, that it takes very little money to make a really good film, if everybody involved wants to make a really good film. We had 15 days and about $700,000, and we were able to have, you know, I was able to have great cameras and great sets, and people worked for less than they should have, for a shorter amount of time, so they were working harder. But everybody showed up, smiling and ready to tell the same story. So I do think it's harder, but I also, I don't want anybody out there who's trying to make a film to think it's impossible. It's never been impossible, and just don't take no for an answer. You know, that's the beauty of today, too, is you can shoot it in your backyard with sock puppets if you want to, and it can be awesome. But yeah, I mean, unless you're making The Dark Knight, or you're willing to do it for very little money, it's, you know, it's tough. There's no middle ground right now.